cold beneath my feet, the rope was cold above. The woman who had climbed before me had been climbing out of love, and every dawn she handed me was held inside the bronze. She climbed to ring a bell, the sun did not climb at all. The bronze was warm and silent in the cold before the call. A young keeper at the tower with the rope above her hand. The village slept beneath her, the village did not understand. The first thing that she taught me was the step that I should miss. The second was the side the cold would press against the bronze. The third, the smallest, easiest to lose without a sound, that the keeper of the bell sees the dawn before the ground. She climbed to ring a bell, the sun did not climb at all. The bronze was warm and silent in the cold before the call. A young keeper at the tower with the rope above her hand. The village slept beneath her, the village did not understand. The cloud was low, the cloud was thick, the cloud had no name. The cloud lay down upon the village like a folded shame. I rang the rope the way she taught, one pull, one breath, one sound. The bronze went out across the valley to a dawn that had not found. The first day the sun did not rise, and yet I rang the rope. The first day the bronze went out alone, without an answering hope. She climbed to ring a bell, the sun did not climb at all. The bronze was warm and silent in the cold before the call. A young keeper at the tower with the rope above her head. The village slept beneath her, the village did not understand. She climbed to ring a bell, she rang it for the dark. The bell answered once and let the morning fail to mark. A young keeper at the rope with the sky that did not break. The village slept beneath her, and the bronze began to ache. She climbed to ring a bell, the sun did not climb at all. The bronze was warm and silent in the cold before the call. The first day passed in clouds, the village did not name. The keeper held the rope and felt the bronze remember flame. A young keeper of the bronze who'd never seen the cold so still. The bell went silent, and the dawn was waiting on the hill. villagers were waking, but the village did not call. and I had wrung the bronze the way the woman taught me first. She rang for 3 mornings, 3 mornings answered night. The bronze had warmed the cold, but had not warmed the light. The villagers came one by one beneath the unlit air, a young keeper at the rope with no answer in her care. An old woman of the village climbed the bell tower stair. She brought a small wax candle and she did not say a prayer. A child came up behind her and the child did not speak. The bronze rang once between them in the silence of the week. She rang for 3 mornings, 3 mornings answered night. The bronze had warmed the cold, but had not warmed the light. The villagers came one by one beneath the unlit air, a young keeper at the rope with no answer in her care. The 3rd night I had nothing left to give the rope or stone. The 3rd night I had only what the keeper kept alone. I ran my thumb along the bronze and felt a thread of cold, a hairline crack along the lip, and the bronze was growing old. The 3rd day brought no morning, brought no answer to the call. The 3rd day the villagers stood silent in the hall. She rang for 3 mornings, 3 mornings answered night. The bronze had warmed the cold, but had not warmed the light. The villagers came one by one beneath the unlit air, a young keeper at the rope with no answer in her care. The bronze had warmed 3 mornings that the sun would never see. The bronze had warmed the silence where the keeper used to be. The cloud did not require me to weep or to atone. The cloud required only that the bronze keep ringing on. She rang for 3 mornings, 3 mornings answered night. The villagers stood beneath her and the bronze began to fight. The 3rd dusk fell in silence on the village and the snow. The keeper held the rope and felt the bronze begin to slow. A young keeper of the bell who'd never felt the bronze so thin. The bell went silent and the crack began to widen in. From a sky that I could see, the bronze had grown so brittle that a breath would set it free. And I pulled the rope the way I'd pulled it every winter morn. The bell broke, the song stayed, a copper ember rose from where the bronze had laid. A young keeper at the broken edge, with iron in her palm. The village would not ask her, the village kept the calm. with iron in her palm. The village would not ask her. The village kept the calm. The bronze remembered a song that I had never heard. I held the iron in my palm and could not say a word. The valley does not lose its keeper when the bell goes still. The bronze remembered everything the village would not tell. The valley does not lose its bell when the bronze remembers song. The valley keeps the breath the bell had carried all along. The bell broke, the song stayed. A copper ember rose from where the bronze had lain. A young keeper at the broken edge with iron in her palm. The village would not ask her. The village kept the calm. The bronze had warmed a song from years before the village knew. The bronze had warmed an iron that the bell had carried through. The ember rose for one short breath and dissolved into the air. The iron stayed inside my palm, a sigil older than I dare. The bell broke, the song stayed. The bronze remembered everything the dawn forgot to say. The bell did not ring, the bell did not come either, but the bronze remembered a song. The bell had been a keeper, a young keeper of the bronze who'd seen the dawn return. The bell will not be cast again. The song the bronze will learn.
The hall had lost its roof beneath a fire 17 winters back. The ash came in with every wind and laid the morning black. And every dawn the broom went out before the men below. He swept a hall that held no one. He bowed to a chair that held no king. The throne was cold, the ash was colder. The wind was the only thing. An old caretaker at the days, with the broom inside his hand. The valley slept beneath the hall. The valley did not understand. He had come from the north in winter, when his hair had turned to gray. He had taken up the broom beside the doorway on his second day. He had not asked the valley, who had once been king before. He had only heard the silence and had recognized the floor. He swept a hall that held no one. He bowed to a chair that held no king. The throne was cold, the ash was colder. The wind was the only thing. An old caretaker at the days, with the broom inside his hand. The valley slept beneath the hall. The valley did not understand. The throne was on a low stone dais at the far end of the floor. The roof above the dais was the sky the way it had been before. He swept the ash the way the man before had swept the years. He swept it like a quiet vow that nobody else still hears. The first thing that the broom would find was always the same line. The throne had stayed when no one had, and he had not asked why. He swept a hall that held no one. He bowed to a chair that held no king. The throne was cold, the ash was colder. The wind was the only thing. An old caretaker at the dais, with the broom inside his hand. The valley slept beneath the hall. The valley did not understand. He swept a hall that held no one. He swept it for the dust. The throne answered with silence, and the ash answered with crust. An old caretaker at the dais, with a sky inside the roof. The valley slept beneath the hall, and the broom went on as proof. He swept a hall that held no one. He bowed to a chair that held no king. The throne was cold, the ash was colder. The wind was the only thing. The first hour passed in ash. The valley did not name. The watcher held the broom and felt the stone remember flame. An old caretaker of the days, who had never asked for more. The hall went silent, and the morning waited at the door. Struck a thing the ash had hidden in its bed. The metal was the color of the smoke a fire leaves in dread. And he had set the broom against the days and had bent. He lifted a crown from the ash. He could not lift its name. The metal was bent and blackened where the fire had laid the flame. An old caretaker with a cloth and a bowl of clouded water, a thread of gold returning to a circle that had taught her. He had carried it beside the throne to where his bedding lay. He had set it in a wooden bowl and watched the soot give way. He had taken up a soft grey cloth he kept beside the lamp, and he had polished slowly like a man who lights a damp. He lifted a crown from the ash. He could not lift its name. The metal was bent and blackened where the fire had laid the flame. An old caretaker with a cloth and a bowl of clouded water, a thread of gold returning to a circle that had taught her. A quarter of the metal had come back to gold by noon. He had stopped his cloth and held the piece between his hands and stone. He had tried to find a name his memory had let go. He had not been able to call it back from where the ash had grown. He had stood beside the lamp and weighed the small bent piece of gold. He had known a man had worn it once, but could not say how old. He lifted a crown from the ash. He could not lift its name. The metal was bent and blackened where the fire had laid the flame. An old caretaker with a cloth and a bowl of clouded water, a thread of gold returning to a circle that had taught her. The metal had remembered gold the years had tried to take. The metal had remembered weight the fire could not break. The hull did not require him to weep or to atone. The hull required only that the soot be lifted from the bone. He lifted a crown from the ash. He could not lift its name. The cloth went round the bent gold edge, and the gold came back the same. The afternoon went down in light. The valley did not see. The watcher held the polished piece and felt the gold come free. An old caretaker of the days, with a name he could not raise. The bowl went still, and the lamp burned quiet through the haze. The dusk had come in copper through the broken roof above. The hall had taken on the color of a thing returned to love. And he had walked the length of stone. He swept by every morning. He placed it back where it belonged. He could not place the king. The throne accepted what he said. The ash did not say a thing. An old caretaker at the days, with a polished piece of gold, a throne that held a crown again, and a name it would not hold. He had stepped back from the days by exactly 3 slow paces. He had bowed once to the seat, the way a working man embraces. He had not knelt, he had not wept, he had not said a prayer. He had only said the words he had been keeping in his care.
He placed it back where it belonged. He could not place the king.
The throne accepted what he said.
The ash did not say a thing.
An old caretaker at the days,
with a polished piece of gold,
a throne that held a crown again,
and a name
it would not hold. The throne did not reply. The wind moved through the door. The throne did not require what he could not give it more. I do not remember who you were. I remember that you were a king. The valley does not lose its hall when the king is left unsaid. The throne remembered waits the way a body keeps its dead. The hall does not lose its throne when the gold is set in place. The hall keeps the breath the broom had carried with such grace.
He placed it back where it belonged. He could not place the king.
The throne accepted what he set.
The ash did not say a thing.
An old caretaker at the days,
with a polished piece of gold,
a throne that held a crown again,
and a name
it would not hold. The hall had held a crown again. The years had tried to take. The hall had held a working man whose hands the work could shape. The dusk lay down across the days, and the gold caught one last spark. The throne was no less empty, but the throne was less of dark. He placed it back where it belonged, and bowed without a word. The hall remembered wait the way the dusk remembers bird. He walked the length of stone, he swept by every morning out. He closed the great wooden door behind him with a working hand. An old caretaker of the days who had said the only line. The hall went silent, and the throne kept watch through the night.
The road that brought me north was thin and white and slow. The metal at my hip was cold, the way old metal goes. And every winter handed me a road my grandfather had walked. She carried a sigil that she could not read. She walked toward a village she had never seen, a young woman with a medal that her grandfather had named beneath a winter sky that did not ask to be explained. He gave it to me one bright morning when my hands were small and brown. He said, if a road should bring you to a village built of stone, leave this where they remember. And he did not say their name. He died the winter after, and the metal stayed the same. She carried a sigil that she could not read. She walked toward a village she had never seen, a young woman with a medal that her grandfather had named beneath a winter sky that did not ask to be explained. The metal was cold, the metal had no name to me. pines were thinning slow towards something I could see. A village built of stone houses on a low and quiet hill, the kind of village grandfathers describe and then stay still. The sixth winter brought me near the gate I'd never known. The metal at my hip began to feel less like stone. She carried a sigil that she could not read. She walked toward a village she had never seen. A young woman with a medal that her grandfather had named beneath a winter sky that did not ask to be explained. She walked the road her grandfather had walked when he was young. She did not know which winter he had walked the meadow from. A young woman with a sigil and a story she could not unfold. The road did not require it, the metal stayed as cold. She carried a sigil that she could not read. She walked toward a village she had never seen. The road went thin, the pines went thin, the snow went thin and slow. The village rose ahead of me, the way old stories grow. A young woman with a sigil at the edge of a low hill. The road let go of me, and the village waited still. She sat beside a wool-wrapped bench beneath a low gray gate and looked at me the way old women look at things that wait. And then she looked down at the iron at my traveling hip. An old woman remembered the blood inside my name. She did not yet remember mine, but she remembered his. A young woman with a sigil at the village's lit gate, beneath an evening sky that knew the man who'd kept it safe. And so I learned the sigil was forged in this village 50 years ago. The hand that bore it walked the iron march and chose to let it go. It came to rest in a valley 3 days south, where one wind kept the snow. The valley is no more. The sigil walked the way that grandchildren grow. An old woman remembered the blood inside my name. She did not yet remember mine, but she remembered his. A young woman with a sigil at the village's lit gate, beneath an evening sky that knew the man who'd kept it safe. My grandfather laid a sigil in a valley long ago. The valley is gone now, and the sigil has come home. He had not told me where the snow was thinnest at the road. He had only valley 3 days south of here was gone before I came. The sigil at my hip had carried half a stranger's name. An old woman remembered the blood inside my name. She did not yet remember mine, but she remembered his. A young woman with a sigil at the village's lit gate, beneath an evening sky that knew the man who'd kept it safe. The metal at my hip had walked beside a man I did not know. The metal at my hip had walked the years a grandchild had to grow. The valley was no longer there, the village stayed beside the gate. The sigil that my grandfather had carried was no longer late. An old woman remembered the blood inside my name. The village did not say it, the dusk said it the same. The lit windows of the village held a story I had carried blind. The hearth I slept beside that night did not require me to find a young woman with a sigil that the village had once forged. The dusk went deep, and the metal felt a weight it had not borne. The fifth morning came and blew across the village's low gate. The metal at my hip had grown a kind of patient weight, and I unfastened the iron the way my grandfather once did. She placed it where he would have wanted, on the snow. She walked away the way that he had never walked alone. A young woman at a village edge with iron in the cold. The morning did not ask her, the morning let it hold. I knelt beside the wooden gate and laid the metal down. I did not say a word. The iron made a whispered sound. He had not told me how to leave a thing he could not place. The sigil chose the snow the way it chose to leave my face. She placed it where he would have wanted, on the snow. She walked away the way that he had never walked alone. A young woman at a village edge with iron in the cold. The morning did not ask her, the morning let it hold. I do not know what this means, but I know where it belongs. The metal stayed behind me on the snow that did not melt. The road in front of me was thin, and the road this time was felt. The morning held the sigil where my grandfather's hand had thrown. The morning held a daughter who had walked it home unknown. She placed it where he would have wanted, on the snow. She walked away the way that he had never walked alone. A young woman at a village edge with iron in the cold. The morning did not ask her, the morning let it hold. The sigil walked 3 winters longer than the man who'd carried it. The sigil walked 3 winters longer than the valley it had hit. A young woman set it down the way a road sets down a stone. And the village she had never known had let her come and gone. She placed it where he would have wanted, on the snow. The dawn did not require her, the dawn let it hold. The meadows stayed behind, the road went south where roads will go. A young woman with a road and not a medal at her hip. The village kept the sigil that the village had once forged. The morning held its silence, and the snow held what it stored.
He came to a chapel that did not have a door. He swept the dust and knelt upon the floor. The chapel asked for nothing and was given none. A flickering candle and a broken stone. And every dawn he handed it the only thing he had, his open. He lit a candle for no one and called it by no name. The chapel kept the door unlocked, the wind came as it came. He folded both his weathered hands above the altar's flame. The world walked past the chapel, and the chapel stayed the same. The wind came in beneath the door and tasted of the wax. It walked across the altar where the candle held the cracks. He did not turn to watch it pass. He kept his eyes on smoke. He did not need an answer to the words he never spoke. He lit a candle for no one and called it by no name. The chapel kept the door unlocked, the wind came as it came. He folded both his weathered hands above the altar's flame. The world walked past the chapel, and the chapel stayed the same. The road outside was empty, and the morning hour was low. The cold had crossed the threshold, and the cold had moved through slow. He did not lift his eyes to ask the dawn for it to rise. He simply held the silence underneath the open skies. He prayed without an audience. He prayed without a day. He prayed because the silence in the chapel asked him pray. He did not need a god to teach him what the words were through. He spoke the small, kind words a man might speak to one he knew. He lit a candle for no one and called it by no name. The chapel kept the door unlocked. The wind came as it came. He folded both his weathered hands above the altar's flame. The world walked past the chapel, and the chapel stayed the same. He lit a candle for no one and called it by no name. The chapel kept the door unlocked. The wind came as it came. He folded both his weathered hands above the altar's flame. The world walked past the chapel, and the chapel stayed the same. He came to a chapel that did not have a door. He swept the dust and knelt upon the worn stone floor. The wind moved past the lintel, and the wind moved past the walls. The wax began to gather where the older candle falls. He did not need a kingdom to be told his hands had grown. He kept the morning silent, and the silence walked him through. He woke before the morning, and beside the door he knelt. The cold inside his weathered hands was deeper than he felt. He spoke the small, kind words he kept beneath his quiet breath. The candle held its silence at the altar's quiet depth. And then the broken fragment on the altar, it grew warm. He prayed for names he never had a way of having knew. The names remembered him before the hour walked them through. The crown upon the altar, broken copper, dim and held, began to shine a small remembered language no one spelled. He did not know an altar had once burned a kingdom gone. He did not know a voice had whispered words upon a stone. He only knew the warmth was real, the way a fire warms back, the way a friend you cannot see still walks beside your track. He prayed for names he never had a way of having knew. The names remembered him before the hour walked them through. The crown upon the altar, broken copper, dim and held, began to shine the small remembered language no one spelled. The light upon his hands had come a long way from afar. The light remembered fires that he never knew were He did not have to ask the crown to tell him who's the flame. The crown was speaking with the breath of one who had no name. He folded both his quiet hands and watched the copper shone. He felt the chapel hold a warmth he could not feel alone. He thought he heard a whispered word, a hush, a prayer, a small forgotten breath that crossed the room and answered his own call. He prayed for names he never had a way of having knew. The names remembered him before the hour walked them through. The crown upon the altar, broken copper dim and held, began to shine the small remembered language no one spelled. He prayed for names he never had a way of having knew. The names remembered him before the hour walked them through. The crown upon the altar, broken copper dim and held, began to shine the small remembered language no one spelled. The chapel and the saint who burned were quietly bound. The altar that had burned alive had quietly been found. The crown returned to dim again, no brighter than the gold that candles keep when no one else has heard the secret told. The monk had not asked anyone to tell him what he'd seen. He kept the morning small, between the chapel and between. The dusk was crawling sideways through the window facing west. The candle had grown smaller than it was at morning's rest. He sat against the altar with the broken crown grown small. He spoke a hymn no liturgy had ever taught the wall, and no one heard the hymn except the wind that walked the side. He sang a hymn the silence kept, and no one ever heard. The chapel held the breath beneath the unaccompanied word. The road outside was empty as the road had always been by. The wind moved past the open door beneath the dimming sky. The hymn was small, the way a dying candle's reach is thin. The hymn was old, the way the years are old when lived within. He did not stop because the silence had not asked him gone. He did not stop because the candle fading asked him on. He sang a hymn the silence kept, and no one ever heard. The chapel held the breath beneath the unaccompanied word. The road outside was empty as the road had always been by. The wind moved past the open door beneath the dimming sky. And then a footstep far was walking, some somewhere on the road, a stranger and his weariness and what his shoulders showed. The footsteps came up close and crossed the threshold of the door, and kept on going past the place no kingdom claimed before. The traveler did not turn his head to see the door was low. The traveler did not stop to ask the chapel why so slow. He walked the way a man walks when the world begins to fade. The monk did not look up to see the footsteps that were made. He sang a hymn the silence kept, and no one ever heard. The chapel held the breath beneath the unaccompanied word. The road outside was empty as the road had always been by. The wind moved past the open door beneath the dimming sky. He prayed for no one, and no one heard him as he walked. But the past had heard, and the future passed without it talked. The hymn grew smaller than the candle's smallest dying breath. The chapel kept the silence, and the silence kept the rest. The traveler had walked the road and never knew he passed. The chapel and the monk were quiet, and the day was last. He prayed for no one, and no one heard him.